Hey everyone, this is Toby. Welcome to the next installment of The Real Me, which is really a weekly journey into the upcoming Real Me album. So wanted to thank you for staying with me on this. Wanted to give you some really innovative and unique insights into the progress of The Real Me, and as well as give you behind the scenes views into what it's like, to produce a music album. I also wanted to answer any questions that you might have related to my musical journey or me personally as a person. So let's get right to it. So last week I worked with a couple of session artists, Gabor, who's my electric guitar player based out of Budapest, and I worked with Damien, who is my violin player or fiddle player that's based out of Brazil. He's a classical violinist, and he's really picked up the whole concept of fiddle playing extremely well. So been working with them on Same Old Boots, Brand New Roads, which is an adaptation or an update to my original and my biggest hit called Same Old Boots, New Roads, which I introduced on my my debut album, Lantern Lights. And Lantern Lights was an album that I wanted to really tone down, the country atmosphere a little bit. So make it more like you're sitting on the back porch with some friends with instruments and you're just playing. It's nighttime, you're just playing, the fireflies are kind of blinking along to the rhythm of the music. So that's what back row folk, in my view, is all about. So let's answer some of your questions real fast. What actually provides my inspiration? So like with back road folk. So my inspiration really came from my mother. So I had been writing music from 16 to almost 30 years old, and then I touched on it every once in a while in my career. But for the most part, nothing's really happened. But a couple of years ago, my mom had a stroke, and I felt like, man, her time is limited. So I wanted to really delve into her background. She started singing professionally as a teenager, and I actually had gone to the Grand Ole Opry. My uncle Roger, who she knew, through marriage, to my aunt, worked with Bill Monroe back in the 50s. And if you know Bill Monroe, he created the genre of bluegrass. So he worked with Bill Monroe back in the 50s and the 60s. So I wanted to explore that part of it. I didn't want it to die. So I started learning more, interviewed Mom and some others, and realized, hey, I could produce an album that does this. So that's what I'm working on right now with The Real Me. So I think with The Real Me, you'll see an album that's got a lot of personal personal stories behind it, as well as what it must have been like being in Appalachia, back in the early 50s and the 40s. So that's really the meaning of my inspiration for this upcoming album. Now, I do collaborate with a band called Dark Matter Rhapsody, or DMR, which is cinematic rock. And actually, the influence to that group will appear a little bit in this upcoming album, The Real Me, in a track titled The Mountains Raised Us. Mountains Raised Us is kind of cinematic. It's a little bit driving, but it also adds in Appalachian instrumentation with an Appalachian story about what it's like converting from the old Appalachia, where you work in the coal mines and you're poor and all of that, to the new generation that just gets out there, solar lights and writing music, and some of the most famous country music artists are from Appalachia. So just really that transformation over time. Why do I work with session artists as opposed to just going out and getting a band together? For me, it's very simple. First of all, working with session artists gives me a way to tap into their talents. They've worked with famous people all their lives. Many of them have won Grammy Awards with these session artists, as well as individually. So I could tap into a wealth of knowledge and experience when putting music together. A lot of their ideas get rolled into this upcoming album that I'm really happy about. So that's why I work with session artists. A lot of these people have worked in music for over 20 years. I can't get that, necessarily by putting a band together. So that's what I leverage. What do I do for a living? Well, when I ended up leaving the music industry back when I was like 27 years old. I jumped into the corporate field in insurance and then moved into technology in the early 2000, late 1990s. And I've been in the field of technology ever since. So that's what I do for a living. I'm a technology consultant to businesses. And I think that's pretty much it for today. What I'd like to do is go ahead and close out. Just wanted to thank you for staying with me on this, and hopefully you get a little bit more about my journey and what you can expect in the upcoming album, The Real Me. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.